Yo. Hi, I'm Elliot. It's nice to not really meet you, but kind of share space. It's nice to both be here. I look forward to meeting you if that ever happens. It's not impossible. I'm possible. I'm going to read a couple things from my book. I mean, I'm writing a book, but it's not from that book. It's just like my writing book. Tell me if you like it. That was rhetorical. First, free will. Free will is the cornerstone of self-awareness. Oh, I'll start again. But first, this is for entertainment purposes. And there are cookies somewhere, so accept those two. You have to agree to blah, 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 blah to move forward, so just click yes. And any other like fake ass but true acquiescence of your freedom via choice. You got to say yes. You got to say yes to play. You got to say yes to blame. So first, free will. Free will is the cornerstone of self-awareness and the key to all power in this realm. The cleverest deception of will is not convincing the world that the devil doesn't exist, but choice. Clever because if you ask almost any person in the dominant middle class if they are possessed of free will, they will unequivocally reply, certainly, yes. Yet, it is the same segment of our world's population that has the most economic leverage that, if given the choice, would not show up for work at their job, specifically tomorrow or ever again. And they still do. That's just the way the world works. The way that it is. Beliefs such as these are evil's methods to undermine our collective consent. The collective with such ease acquiesces their freedom for lack of an educated imagination. When then defending their choice, they'll begin with, I have no choice, and proceed to explain, though truly the tragedy of their needs. Always closing obliviously to the ignorance of themselves by stating that there is no way around it. So I'm going to say those sentences again for the flow of it. When then defending their choice, they'll begin with, well, I have no choice, and then proceed to explain, though truly the tragedy of their needs, explaining their needs, which are real. Always closing obliviously to the ignorance of themselves by stating that there is no way around it. So, for example, actually just yesterday I had a conversation with a lovely soul at the yoga studio, a real angel through whom my healing and offering my presence has, and love and kindness and big hugs and smushy kisses has kind of just given her to what she deserves, which is that kind of attention and love that isn't dependent on anything except her true beauty and being. And then in return, she's kind to me. And that goes everywhere as far as I as far as I am. And I don't know, I've been on a roll in going outside and talking to people. I mean that in the most literal sense. And in kind of, but I won't submit. I won't not try at least to meet people with the vernacular that they're familiar with, but at the same time be like, none of this is real. Like, for instance, I live in Toronto, and we just, as a basketball team, won the championships. Yeah. And it's actually kind of cool as like a adventure thing. If the whole world didn't revolve around illusion, then I would have no qualms with really celebrating it. And on the flip side, just like any lie, there's like a half truth to like people deserve to celebrate because they make those things up anyways. And so that kind of came up and we discussed it a touch. Just fast forward this part.
Listen tight again. That's not how you act. It's not nice. Okay? Okay, buddy? So come give me a hug. I know. When you're not nice to this shape, you just be nice. And then if you need to this thing, something a big person. That's nice. I know. Is this you? Is this you? I see you. Hello. Did you? No, that's not that's so good. This is sorry, you guys, that's not really funny. That's not really the answer to anything. Okay. So, did you get it? It's okay, I'm not going to be in trouble with it. Did you? No. Just yes or no. You get it? Okay. Just so you know, can I say something? Just so you look at him and say, I'm sorry to hit you. Okay? You okay? You said sorry, okay? No. I know, but that's not what you don't hit him to do. You say, here's rules. And then just move, and you get a good person to help you, okay? Okay. Now you just know.
I'm babysitting, well, sort of, my nephews. Rather, my aunt is, and I'm kind of around. That's a long story. Anyways, I was discussing my conversation with a student, friend, fellow beautiful soul. Well, I had a little like ego check there. I'm like, am I allowed to call myself beautiful? Damn right. And anyway, it was like, yay, basketball. And I'm like, none of that's real. Like the money, the need, that's not life. None of that is alive. And she gave the standard kind of result. She's like, the resolve. I'm like, well, my rent is real. it's not. And so long as we kind of go there with it, feel like it sucks, but it's real, then that's your choice. Well, Elliot, how do you approach this? Uh, I let things happen, and I've learned to focus on the way that I want to feel rather than what I think will get me there. I've had some success. It's mostly a failed project, but I think my some success might put me in the top 1% of people really feeling. Hence, stating it like, I have no choice, here's my needs, and then what are you going to do? There's no way around it. Conversely, conversely to her, there's like the other side of the spectrum. And this is kind of where I'm going with that. Another trick that is the no way around, obfuscating arrogance as pride. Have we yet, with wit, made indicate the grandest illusion of all? With such subtlety, the collective choose victim over all. Much simple a fulcrum of control when the masses can only see rise or fall. To make a stand, we must insist that life is more than a yes or no. More than a yes or no choice, more than a yes or no question, more than a yes or no answer. It's not the essence of the question, but its structure is the prison. The systemic injection as binary and be and end all. Now, speaking to fiction. Why are there no historic texts that are unmistakably works of fiction? Supposedly, the first author of such was Homer. However, they are arguable. They are arguable fiction. Their historical accuracy is at present under some debate, which is especially of note since the history that has been popularized is certainly influentially fabricated. And a true story embellished dramatically, but based upon accuracy within my hypothesis does not invalidate. How much can we blame ancestral imbecility for their inability to create what? Fake stories? The pyramids, yes, but a Shakespeare it doth not make? Really? Instead, tales of origins depicting geographical, anatomical, and astronomical data that we in modern times can verify, and some, like the presence of Sirius B or Saturn's rings, they predate. So was it that fiction? So was it that fiction was not important enough to make in material? Continued on page 18. Continued from page 8. So was it that fiction was not important enough to make in material that had endurance to be lasting? Now, I do think that there is some truth to this, that creating works of fiction in the form of something substantial would be unheard of and a waste of time and resources. Resources not of ink or parchment, but really precious matter, like those of heart and mind. The excuse, also, that times were tough and lacking for leisure time is contracting is contracting of history, supposedly. That people were smart enough to be economically efficient, that those living in the reasonably recent but also distant past must have been self-forced or always slaves to not have time for leisure, as fiction dictates. But drawing lines in the ground for no intelligent known reason, or milling giant massive spheres of stone, a feat that popular science, like the pyramids, cannot recreate, as lawn ornaments for the wealthy. I'm not kidding. Like that's what they purport that these giant massive spheres of stone are. Lawn ornaments for the wealthy. This they will do. But books, or even an oral tradition passed as clearly make-believe, these are nowhere to be found. The crux of my inquiry is based on the productivity of the supposed postmodern evolved ape. With all that we have available as a society, the overarching leisure pursuits, and even work, as most jobs are to uphold and sustain social infrastructures that are so destructive and hierarchically self-serving so as to count as fake, is rooted in the unreal. So I'm going to say that sentence again. With all that we have available as a society, the overarching leisure pursuit, and even work, as most jobs are to uphold and sustain social infrastructures that are so destructive and hierarchically self-serving so as to count as fake, these are rooted in the unreal. Games, fiction, Hollywood, even dating. None are self-satisfying or self-evolving, so much so as to dominate the precious expenditure of body, heart, spirit, mind, soul. Continued on page 22. We are not lacking for wonders to delve into if efficiency is so the social or maybe mammalian drive. And if we don't have problems to solve, then I'm not really writing this. And that is indeed why living vicariously by others' imagination from our seat perfectly explains our escapist alibi. Yes, I'm fucking kidding. The world that we are sure of is rife with solvable crises. But instead of diminishing, they seem to multiply, while we sit back and consume pulp fiction. Again and again and again, until we die. See, I think that this is actually the lie. Not so many of us, I believe, sit so idly by. I don't think you do, reader. But that we are the few and not the many. This is more fiction than none. I posit that fiction is so unnatural that it actually cannot be done. That every ever make believe can find its reality across somewhere in the fabric of the encompassed universe. That everything ever thought is but a mote, or even an original combination thereof, plucked from the shores of time. And fiction, when not realized as the channeling and thus truth that it underlies, is a spell and program, so used to frame our beliefs and churn that which we would ordinarily download as a fantastic possibility into fat instead to chew on. Yes, as cud, dreams already chewed, so thus eschewed as a figment of our imagination. And remember, children, using your imagination is when you see with your lies instead of your eyes. And those too will play tricks on you. It's nearly impossible to lie. This is because a lie is a deception about something true. So every lie must inherently contain truth. And to lie about the truth, well, you can only do that to someone that doesn't know the truth. And to not know the truth, in a way, is to not be alive. And you look around, and if you can detect it, we are surrounded by the deceptions. But that's not impossible. See, if you lie once, but then continue to tell the truth about that lie, you can spell a great deal of falsities. You could tell a little lie, about something important, and no one would really believe you. Well, maybe some would. And should you have the influence of media, of being the main voice, then, and the luxury of the awareness of time and taking it, you could just slowly, inexorably continue to lie further and further. By telling the truth about your experience of that one lie, until everyone just assumes the truth, because you know the truth when you hear it, and you need money to survive, you need to pay the rent, like that's true. Father means male parent, mother means female parent, son means male child, and daughter means female child. I mean, unless all of those words meant something different. Like maybe father just meant a parent. Maybe there was no man and woman, except man was how we referred to our higher selves, and woman was how we referred to all beings in these bodies. I am a woman. I'm a womb man. And the evidence for my highest self, like the manifestation of my highest self, that's the man of me, and I am the womb man. But if I lied about that and just kind of said, actually, no, men is penis, women is vagina, then everything that's ever been written about men and women take on a different context. And you could continue to tell the truth about that lie and further deceive men and women alike. But what are you going to do about it? The answer is something, anything, or everything. Shoot me an email, and we'll do it. Or I'll tell you. It takes doing, but it mostly takes choice. I'll leave you with my last little learning, last by most recent, surely not final. It may be that you can't manifest anything if you have a desire to do it with other people. Like it's some kind of cosmic simplicity, but the lie has made it into a joke. That wanting to do anything with other people, even if it's just sit side by side, sends a vibration that is contrary to sovereignty, and thusly invalidates your desire. You can just love others and desire to love others. And then, should you want to perform any living next to people, kind of just got to do what you got to do and hope that people choose you. I love you. Peace.